Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raymond Lundquist, and I will be your MC for this portion of the conference. I'm 17 years old and was born and raised on my family farm in Medicine Hat. I am currently completing my grade 12 year at Eagle View High School. I am also an active member of my Medicine Hat 4-H Beef Club for the past 8 years, going on 9, continuously participating in the Market Steer project. Outside of 4-H, I am an athlete involved in basketball and rugby and volunteer. Our first speaker is Tenley Warburton. She is 14 years old and lives with her family on their ranch near Sunnybrook, Alberta. She's been in 4-H for 6 years and has completed various projects including light horse, scrapbooking, and carcass. In her spare time, she enjoys riding her horse, helping with cattle moves in the mountains and fields, and making scrapbook cards. Before achieving her future goal of becoming a lawyer, she has her eyes set on becoming Miss Rodeo Canada. Here is Tenley Warburton and Rodeo's 3 R's.
Roping, riding, and racing. To everyone involved in rodeo, those 3 words mean the world. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'll be talking to you all about rodeo's 3 R's, which are roping, riding, and racing. Some live for those 3 words. I am one of those people. Roping has been around for as long as one can remember. It was originally only used as a method to catch and doctor a cowboy's cattle out in the field. But as time progressed, cowboys became more and more competitive, and roping eventually transformed into a huge chunk of what rodeo is today. In rodeo, there are 3 events that involve roping, and they are team roping, tie-down roping, and breakaway roping. Breakaway roping is relatively new in rodeo. In fact, this last year was the very first year it appeared at the CFR, Canadian Finals Rodeo, and Kendall Pearson took the win, becoming the very first women's Canadian breakaway champion. Roping is not just performed in the arena. Still today, cowboys use this method out in the field. At a rodeo, you will always see roping going on, whether it's in the arena or not. Often you'll see a clan of kids trying to rope their buddy, and once they're successful, they pull their slack, making their buddy land flat on his face, and somehow that's considered fun. Nah, boys will be boys. I used to get up at 6 a.m. every morning with my dad and rope the dummy for about an hour. But I soon discovered the wonderful world of barrel racing and the life of a rodeo queen. Then Dad was chopped liver. The second R in rodeo is riding. Although all events in rodeo could go under this category, there are 4 events that have nothing to do with roping or racing, strictly riding. These 4 events are bull riding, steer riding, bareback riding, and saddle bronc riding. These are known as rough stock events. They're all rather similar. They're all judged, and you must stay on the animal's back for a solid 8 seconds. Last year, we had 2 very successful cowboys attend the NFR, National Finals Rodeo, Zeke Thurston and Dawson Hay. Zeke won the average and the gold buckle. This was his 2nd world title. So far, my personal experience in the rough stock world includes jumping on the odd calf at a branding or hopping on a colt. I think I'm better off leaving the rough stock events to my younger brother. My younger brother is just getting his journey started in the steer riding world. The funniest part of it all is my younger brother, my 11-year-old brother, fits and is currently using my father's straps from when he was 20. Dang, Dad, you're short. We have now covered the first and second R in rodeo. Now for the third R, racing. All roping events could go under this category, but there are 2 events in rodeo that do not involve roping, but are still a race. These 2 events are steer wrestling and barrel racing. Steer wrestling's exactly how it sounds. The cowboy and his horse launch out of the box once the steer is released from the chutes. Then, the cowboy jumps off his horse, tackling the steer to the ground. Steer wrestling is all about time. How fast can you get that timer to stop? Can you time it perfectly on when to jump off your horse? Steer wrestlers have strength, determination, and bravery. Barrel racing is 3 barrels, 2 hearts, 1 dream. It's a women's event. The pattern is called a cloverleaf pattern because when it's drawn out on paper, it looks exactly like a clover. I've been barrel racing for 5 years now, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Every time I enter the arena, I thank the Lord for allowing me to do what I love most. Rodeo can be difficult in times, but anything in life worth doing is going to be difficult. Rodeo is not just a sport, but it's a family, and I've met so many amazing people through it. Now you know all about rodeo's 3 R's and what rodeo is all about. Rodeo has made such a positive impact in my life.
Our next speaker is Clayton Lair. He has been a 4-H member for 8 years and is a recent graduate of the class of 2020, even in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. He is grateful that his high school was able to grant his class a ceremony to walk across the stage before their parents. Currently, he is attending Lethbridge College online in the Agricultural Sciences program. Everything included in his courses is applicable to his future dream of becoming more involved in agriculture in southern Alberta. Here is Clayton Lair and the last 120 years.
It is 1905. Alberta has just become a province of Canada. The land is beautiful, with flowing prairie grass and a minimal supply of trees in southern Alberta. Each person who lives here has the opportunity through hard work to acquire their land. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon to the Farming Smarter delegates. Isn't that a beautiful image? Would you want to be part of the family that comes to this great area to earn your homestead? My great-great-grandparents did. They came between 1902 and 1909 from all over the world on both sides of my family. I have a heritage of farmers, coal miners, blacksmiths, and ranchers. These families worked hard to be self-sustaining. They used the tools of the time and improvised to accomplish their goals to take care of themselves and others. Here are some of the tools from that time. I want to start by telling you about the agricultural technology they used and how it has evolved. Farmers planted their crops in the rich soil that lay beneath them. Barley and wheat could then be sown. The steel plows they used were not pulled by John Deere or Case tractors. No, instead, teams of draft horses and oxen were used to pull the equipment. The seed was planted in a hole with a stick by hand or thrown as the farmer walked the field. When summer came, they plowed more acres for the following spring planting. As fall descended upon them, the harvest was underway. Scythes were used to cut the sheaves, and they were stacked in the field. Threshing of the grain was done by hand in the barn over the winter. Technology progressed in the 1920s, and so did the equipment. Steam-powered tractors emerged into the field. They had enormous steel wheels which compacted the ground. Due to this compaction, disking the soil became very common. But this made the soil very fine. When the wind came, it would blow the soil to the next field, and this became very apparent in what's known as the Dirty 30s. In 1935, at Nobleford, Alberta, Charles Sherwood Noble invented the Noble blade. This tool helped leave organic matter on top of the soil, which decreased erosion significantly. They still use this tool for sometimes for weed control. Metal threshing machines began to dot the prairies as they were brought from the east on the railway, enabling farmers to thresh their crops right in the field. They are driven by horses, oxen, or steam. Farmers were able to complete their harvest in a shorter amount of time. In the 1950s, we said goodbye to steel wheels and hello to rubber tires. What a much softer ride. This helped with less compaction of the ground, therefore decreasing soil erosion yet again. Farmers were and are conscientious caretakers of the land, and who keep evolving to be more productive with these technologies. In the 1970s, we welcomed the invention of the Bourgault air seeder, with its big flotation tires that reduce compaction. Not all farmers could afford this useful technology though right away. My resourceful grandpa built an attachment to mimic the air seeder. He did this by taking his versatile tractor, hooking up the cultivator, followed by the harrows, and then the seed drills. He wanted to work the land in a single pass and have the least amount of moisture loss for his crops. My mom said it was fun to watch and that seeding was completed in record time that year. Along with the Bourgault air seeder, self-propelled combines became more prevalent in the 1970s and 80s. These combines do the work of many hands but only require one single operator. Now I know that money does not buy happiness, but it buys a combine, and I have never seen a sad person driving a combine. As combines evolved and became enclosed, sometimes the grandchild would ride along to make sure that grandpa was staying awake. This summer, my 12-year-old brother was determined to ride with me. He did 3 full days from 6 to 10 p.m., where he insisted on driving as much as possible. Only once did he fall asleep in those entire 3 days. Fast forward to the turn of the century. In the early 2000s, we welcomed the invention of the GPS, otherwise known as Global Positioning System. This technology assists anyone to drive in a straight line. This helps with seed input, fertilizing, and harvesting. Better crops are produced because they're evenly planted and fertilized. When my mom was growing up in what I call the Mesozoic period, they did not have GPS. My grandpa would check on her working in the field and ask if she was chasing snakes. This was due to her weaving all down the field. Now, GPS keeps us from chasing snakes. As my grandpa says, what a great invention. Now, on to coal mining. My great-great-grandpa Clark was a coal miner in the Lethbridge and Taber area. It was long hours and minimal pay. While working, he would go weeks without seeing the light of day. This work put food on the table, though, and kept his family protected. At that time, Lethbridge was an up-and-coming place, with a population of 2,000 people in 1901. Now, I'd say it's grown a little since then, with the population being just over 92,000 in 2016. Thank you to all those who helped grow the city. Back in grade 9, my buddy and I took an interest in blacksmithing. Mom thought this was a great idea, as I had a great-great-grandpa from Russia who was a blacksmith in the Hilda, Alberta area. We thought it was pretty cool to heat and beat on that hot steel. As we learned from another blacksmith, practice, and trial and error, we became a little smarter and a whole lot more efficient. Last summer, we took over blacksmithing at the Medicine Hat Stampede Pioneer Village. The tools that were used then and now have not changed too much. We still need to use anvils, hammers, and tongs. The last piece of my heritage that I would like to tell you about is ranching. There used to be herds of buffalo across these prairies. When the ranchers came, fence lines and herds of cattle quickly replaced what was left of the buffalo. Ranchers make up a great portion of the heart of Alberta. These pictures are from our ranching operation just west of the Cypress Hills Provincial Park. Boy, are these not some beautiful skies? My great-great-grandparents settled north of Elkwater, and my great-grandparents, Emmanuel and Pauline Lair, settled in the Ranchville area west of Elkwater. They are part of the first group of ranchers to settle this area. This is a picture of my grandpa Lair and his horse, which he had trained to lay down. Ranching has not changed too much. Cows still need to eat grass, and calves still need to grow. The breeds of the animals have evolved, though, so that we can produce a greater animal for its meat. I have never had my own horse, at least not one with 4 legs, that is. Our horses typically have 4 tires to help us get around and check the cows. These 4 groups of hardworking Albertans have grown to make strong families in what is truly the land of the free. They came here with nothing, and through hard work, I have learned to work hard for my claim in this land. I have been working with my grandpa boss and my uncles over the last 5 years. I have learned from work experience with them and from my grandpa about the good old days, how technology has evolved over the last 120 years, and how it continues to evolve to feed the worldwide population today and tomorrow. This technology has permitted my great-grandparents, grandpas, my father, uncles, and myself to continue growing the farming and ranching legacy started by my great-great-grandparents 5 generations ago. I love this Alberta heritage of hardworking farmers, coal miners, blacksmiths, and ranchers that I am a part of. These are my sources.
Our last speaker is Mandy Anderson. She is 12 years old and attends Tilley School. Mandy is in her 4th year of 4-H as a participant in the horse, market, lamb projects and is looking to give heifer a try. Other than 4-H, Mandy is a hockey academy participant at her school, plays volleyball, track and field, and rides with great interest in team sorting and cutting events. Here is Mandy Anderson and the benefits of therapeutic riding.
Imagine a magical beast with wings that can take you places you never thought possible. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to speak to you about therapeutic riding, what it's all about, and its benefits. Therapeutic riding is when people with various disabilities ride horses with the help of trained volunteers. There's always a leader, and that person is responsible for handling the horse and paying attention to other horses and riders around them. There always has to be one or two sidewalkers. A sidewalker's job is to help steady the rider so they don't fall off. There is always an instructor who comes up with fun games and exercises to make the classes fun and beneficial to the rider and keeps everyone on task. Brooks has a therapeutic riding group called Uplift. Uplift has been operating for many years now and is currently run out of the Silver Stage Community Corral. My mom and I have been volunteering for 4 years, and it's very rewarding to see all the happy faces. Uplift offers a 6-week session every spring and fall with 2 one-hour classes each week, with about 6 or 7 riders in each class. That's a lot of horses or riders to get ready. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of volunteers to make it all happen. There are certain saddles that are only for certain horses, and that is a long process to get that all figured out. The volunteers who bring horses have to arrive early so they can get the horses ready. Once the rest of the volunteers and riders start showing up, there is a lot of excitement, and the air is buzzing with excitement, and everybody's eager to get on their horses. Some of our riders are very mobile and can get on with just a mounting block. Others need to walk up a long, high ramp and have their sidewalkers assist them on. We even have a woman in a wheelchair. We use this large, overhead power lift with a harness to lift her out of this wheelchair and into the saddle. Once everyone is on their horse, we start each class with some basic stretches and movements while the horse is at a walk. We might do some arm circles, arm raises, body twists, reaching back and forth, etc., just to get everyone loosened up. After we have everyone warmed up, the games begin. Literally, we do all sorts of fun games to help increase the rider's mobility, coordination, communication, and social skills. We do bowling, ring toss, go fish, puzzles, egg and spoon relay, red light, green light games, and obstacles like rails, barrels, and pylons to go around. I think everyone's favorite part is the special time we let everyone trot. I mean, who doesn't like to go fast? If you talk to anyone who volunteers, you will hear stories of students who have come in and never really interact with their peers. In time, they begin to speak, smile, sign, laugh, and become quite involved in their sessions. They will tell you they see a rider's flexibility and strength grow as new muscles are worked, and how riding helps those with ADHD focus better. Therapeutic riding has taught me a lot as well. It has taught me that behind every little event in our community, there's always hard-working volunteers making it all happen. It has taught me patience. I have realized that not everyone has the same abilities, and I have to watch for others in need of help. It makes me focus on my own safety, because you are around people who sometimes do not have a lot of experience with horses. The best part is seeing a rider have a fantastic ride. It's also made me realize how fortunate I am to have my very own horse. Horses are amazing animals, and anyone who is ever lucky enough to ride one will understand how they can always just make your day better. If you think about it, therapeutic riding benefits us